Hello there, mates. I'm Nicole Salmons, and welcome to my show, The Author Hunter. Today we are going to catch a rare creature called Kesey. And if I catch him today, I will bring him into your class and show him off. Now, let's get going. Oh, there the creature is. Majestic, isn't he? Now, the first time I spotted this creature was on September 17, 1935 in La Junta, Colorado. Now, when he was just a young human, he traveled a lot with his herd until they finally settled down in Eugene, Oregon, because there was better living conditions. Now, this species is known for educating themselves and being an important part of the ecosystem. Here in high school, Kesey is a star wrestler and a star football player for his school. He also dabbles in theater by writing scripts and acting. This specific author of his species even will continue wrestling when he goes to college at the University of Oregon. He will also continue writing for TV shows, acting, and he will write his first book called The Zoo, even though it will never be published. Now, while I'm being quiet and he doesn't notice me, I'm going to sneak up on him and try to catch him. As you can see, I did not catch the Kesey last time, and so I've been hunting him for years on end with still no luck. But now, the Kesey is in college, and he has married his high school mate, Norma Faye Haxby, in 1956. And here he is, in 1957, earning his Bachelor of Arts degree. The Kesey now is going to migrate back home to work on the dairy farm with his herd until he learns what he wants to do with his life. His life is now starting to come together because he earned a scholarship to go to Stanford for a writing program. At the same time, there is a war going on between the humans, the Vietnam War, that he didn't know if he was going to be drafted into or not. Luckily, the Kesey cannot fight in it due to a shoulder injury from wrestling. So of course, he started his dream of becoming a writer and went to college. Now here we are, folks, after Stanford. And the Kesey has decided to become an experimental subject and aide at a veterans mental hospital. Here, the U.S. Army is conducting mind-altering drug tests on him, and he has to report their effects. It's just awful what people still do to these creatures' brains. And also at this hospital, he is able to see the abuse of the system, and that leads him to write his most famous book, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Also, due to his time at the hospital and writing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, it leads the Kesey to be different from his herd and to believe that the only way to get individual liberation is through psychedelic drugs. Let's take a break and talk more about his first book, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest became an instant hit. It became a Broadway, was a bestseller, and it became a movie. The Kesey hated the script for the movie and refused to watch it even though it received many awards. While the book was getting popular, the Kesey began writing his next book, Sometimes a Great Notion. But it was never as popular as One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, he soon realized. You see, the creature is going to spread unconventional views on liberation and publicize Sometimes a Great Notion by going on a cross-country trip with his new herd he calls the Merry Pranksters. They travel on a kaleidoscopic graffiti-covered bus they call Further, and as you see behind me, they are conducting acid tests on our journey in several places. Acid tests are where the Kesey laces Kool-Aid with LSD and makes it a game where you have to see how long you could last without freaking out. One place the creature did the acid test was at the World's Fair in New York City. Here, and the other places they conducted the tests, they have a band of humans called the Grateful Dead who sometimes sing for the people during the tests. Years have passed and I'm still tracking the Kesey. I'm very tired now. But anyways, his merry prankster days are starting to end when he was charged with marijuana possession. Not wanting to go to jail, the creature fakes a suicide note and flees to Mexico. He plans to stay there for about a year, but eventually will come back and work on a work farm. I plan to catch him when he returns. The Kesey is now back, and this experience has finally matured the creature, and so he settles down with his mate and 4 offsprings on his father's farm. Bet you didn't suspect the Kesey had time for mating, did you? Well, he did, and at this time, the Kesey continues to publish short stories and essays and teaches at the University of Oregon. He also coaches wrestling at schools and publishes a child's book called Little Bricker, The Squirrel Meets Big Double, the Bear, in 1988. The creature also published in 1922 a book called Sailor Song and Last Go Round in 1994. Now, I'm going to sneak up upon the beast and capture him for your viewing. I did it! I finally caught the Kesey after years. Sadly, the creature already has liver cancer, and I bet he will die on November 10, 2001 in Eugene, Oregon, due to liver cancer surgery complications. But before that, I will bring the beast to you personally so he may talk more about his life.